What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over how you can stop losing to the drum shotgun, or at least lose to the drum shotgun a little bit less in Chapter 4, Season 3. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, and comment down below what you think of the drum shotgun. I know it annoys a lot of people, but also there are people out there that enjoy using it. So let me know what you think of these fully auto shotguns. Personally, I much prefer using the pump shotguns. I feel like the game just plays better when those are meta, and it's also just much more satisfying to use. But the first thing we're going to talk about is going to be that the drum shotgun is very, very one-dimensional. It is not versatile at all. It does one thing, and it does that thing very well. It's very dangerous, and it's one type of fight that it's good at. But if you fight it outside of that at all, it's not a good weapon. It has very limited range, it has very low damage per shot, and it's very inconsistent. It has a high fire rate though, and it's very easy to use because of that high fire rate and that high spread, which kind of leads to the inconsistency. It's easy to hit some shots with it, and since it has a solid fire rate for a shotgun, it's easy to just keep hitting shots. And so where this weapon thrives is incredibly close range fights, basically barrel stuffing the opponent with it. And outside of that, it's not very good. So the easiest way to deal with the drum shotgun is just to play peeks from cover as much as you can, especially with the drum shotgun, since especially with the pump shotgun, since the drum shotgun's main advantage is just its sustained fire rate. If the only time you're peaking is when you're actively pumping them, then you're not going to take very much damage, and you should be able to easily win this fight. Obviously, this is easier said than done. Not every situation will be ideal. You'll get in some bad scenarios, but the point stands. This is what you should play for, and this is what you should be trying to make happen in a close range fight. I'll have some clips here where I'm fighting a drum shotty player, and we are very close range. Like, I'm well within drum shotty range, so I'm in danger. But because I play cover well and they don't, I'm able to easily win these fights without taking very much damage at all. And you would think this would be a situation where the drum shotty would thrive. You want to play right shouldered peek as much as possible, play verticality peek as much as possible, and just limit the amount of time you're exposed to them. Like I said earlier, if the only time you're exposed to them is when you're actively hitting them with a havoc pump shot, then you're not going to take very much damage in the fight. You're going to hit them for 80 or more probably, and they're probably going to hit you for less than 40. And so that trade is huge in your favor, and you keep doing that over and over again, and you're going to easily be able to win that fight. Another thing that will make it much easier to win fights versus the drum shotty players is to get opening tags beforehand. This has always been the case. No matter what in zero build, if you're able to start the fight with more damage and then take that early pressure you got with mid-range AR tags, you're going to win the close range fight. I feel like with shockwaves in the game now this is much more applicable than it was earlier on in the season, because earlier on in the season you might fry somebody and get 100 150 opening damage on them, which is great, but by the time you're able to get to them, they just healed up, and now you're in a close range fight versus a drum shotty player. But if you fry somebody a good amount, then you can just kind of shockwave on them and make that 50-50. It just really comes down to whether or not you think you're going to be able to kill them in one pump shot. If I'm pretty certain I'm going to be able to one pump the player because I have them that weak, then I don't mind kind of taking a 50-50. But in general, you should be trying to limit your 50-50s versus the drum shotty, because that's the only situation where the gun is usable whatsoever, is if you just create that scenario where you're both kind of standing out in the open. And when you do push them, if they're behind cover, try to still play the edge of cover if you can. If they're around a tree, try to kind of play ring around the rosies with the tree with them. That way you're not constantly exposed to them if possible. Once again, this is easier said than done. You're going to have some situations where you don't get opening tags, or you're not starting at a damage advantageous situation, but these are the things that you should be trying to make happen. And if you're not doing these things, if you're not properly utilizing right shoulder peeks, if you're not properly trying to use cover in a shotgun fight, if you're just kind of opting into that 50-50 as the pump player without early damage, that's when you're going to lose to the drum shotty. I think another big deal when it comes to the drum shotgun is just to let ratty players be ratty players. If you know someone is hiding in a building or a bush, just being weird in general, I'm sure we've all had times where you hear somebody in a building and you want to go in there and fight them because that's the whole point of the game. But that is where the drum shotty thrives. Just somebody hiding in who knows what corner, waiting for somebody to walk in so they can blast them with the drum shotty. I've seen so many players hear somebody in a building and then rush in there and then die to somebody camping with a drum shotty and then complain about how the drum shotty is so overpowered. And it is annoying, but that was a very avoidable situation. You know, you typically have to opt into the situation where the drum shotty is viable. And that is one of those times where, like, if you just let that ratty play a rat, they're probably not going to be as much of a threat later on in the game as they would in that situation. With shockwaves being back now, you can also reset fights where you feel like you're not in the upper hand, or you feel like it is kind of trending towards a 50-50. If you're getting pushed by somebody using a drum shotty and they're just running at you like a maniac, you can just shockwave to a different piece of cover, get some AR tags on them, maybe shockwave back and finish the kill. But if you just kind of stand there and let them kind of create that fight where the drum shotty is ideal, then you're probably not going to win that fight. I think the biggest thing about beating the drum shotty is just avoiding the fights where it's good, because it's good in very few of them. That makes it very avoidable, and that makes it where you can kind of easily get the upper hand on it. Another thing you can do to get an upper hand is just to get a high rarity pump shotgun. This is obviously, obvious. The higher rarity weapon is going to be better. But when it comes to the pump shotgun, hitting for like 170 with a green one versus hitting for like 190 with a gold one, that can be a huge deal in some of these fights, especially with the drum shotty, because they're just putting out shot after shot after shot after shot. Whereas the pump, you really have to make your shots count. And that higher rarity, I feel like, kind of matters a lot more right now. I've been getting good pumps from hollow chests. That is a goal I keep in mind. Usually I don't care that much about weapon rarity, but this season it's been very present in my mind that like I want to get a high rarity pump shotgun. You can do this from opening the vault potentially. I like getting the vault anyways for like the slurp juice and the mythic flapjack rifle. But if I end up not getting one from the vault for whatever reason, then I'll typically go around any hollow chests in the area, and by third zone, your combat cache will spawn, and if you're able to get this early, it's a guaranteed high rarity pump. So if you're able to get this while it's gold, or get it while it's purple, you have a decent amount of time to get it while it's purple, not much to get it while it's gold. You have to be there very quickly. But if you're able to get it like at that rarity, it's a guaranteed pump at that rarity. So if you get it when it's gold, it's a guaranteed gold pump. If you get it when it's purple, it's a guaranteed purple pump. If you get it when it's blue, which is the lowest it goes, it's a guaranteed blue pump, which might be better than, what you had previously. But that kind of process should get you a good pump. If you loot your opening location, if you get a vault, if you check hollow chests, and you get a combat cache, by then you should definitely have a good pump shotgun, and that could be the difference maker in you winning or losing that fight. When it comes to getting the combat cache, I just like to be near a launch pad by the time third zone spawns, or near one of those rift spawners that spawn in the new jungle biome with those little heads you can activate to either open the door or spawn a rift. These are very good. I really like using these, and by the time third zone's coming out, I usually try to be near one of these. That way, the moment my combat cache spawns, I can just hit a rift and then land on it and hopefully get it while it's still gold, but at the very least get it while it's purple. And then one final thing I want to say about the drum shotgun is a lot of players are using it as a crutch. Like, not everybody using the drum shotgun is not very good, but the weaker players, I feel like, are drawn to the drum shotgun. So that is one of the reasons why I feel like it's just very important to not opt into that situation, because the reason why they're using it oftentimes, again, not always the case, it's very annoying to play against, and that leads to just a lot of people using it, but there are a lot of weaker players that are just drawn to it because it's seen as the easy weapon. So if you kind of throw them off their game, don't opt into the fights that's good for the drum shotty, then it's just going to be much easier for you to win the fights versus them, because that's kind of the only thing they got. They're going towards it kind of as a bailout, and as long as you deny them that, you're probably going to be able to win the game versus them. So if you know someone's playing off a drum shotty, or just assume everybody is playing off the drum shotty and try not to opt into fights versus it, play more for mid-range tags, and then once you have someone weak, then close the gap and get the kill with shockwaves. I think that's kind of the best recipe to outplay drum shotties, and I feel like I find myself losing to drum shotties less kind of the more the season has gone on. I don't know if that's like shockwaves being back or just me getting better at playing against the drum shotty, but the biggest thing is just not opting into that 50-50. If you jump out in the open and you and the drum shotty player are like basically touching and there's no cover between you, then you probably already lost that fight. That's the exact thing you want to avoid. And as long as you avoid that, you're going to be losing to the drum shotty way less in Chapter 4, Season 3. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found this helpful or informative. If you did, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like some more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.